Patel from Prashad restaurant. Bobby, I believe this is a bit of a special day for you guys at your restaurant. Tell us about that.
Well, tonight we're back on the Gordon Ramsay's Best Restaurant Show, and we're competing in the semi-finals against another 3 restaurants to hopefully to get a place in the final.
Now, you're doing this live, are you?
No, we're not doing it live.
That's a leading question, isn't it?
It's a very leading question.
We've already been told very firmly by Bobby that we can't put any pressure on him or use any serious interrogation methods to find out if he knows who. We can try. Okay. So you got through one round live on the TV. Sorry, not live. You got through one round on the TV
That's
already.
Right. We were selected through. I think in total there was 2,000 plus. People that we were being assessed against in our category, the Indian category, and it came down to 2 restaurants after various assessments and secret diners and challenges set by Gordon and his team. That then sort of qualified us to be one of the 2 Indian restaurants that were selected for the show. On from there, everything's been about the show and about the competition, and really just sort of Gordon and his team putting us through our paces.
So what's your role in the restaurant? What do you actually do?
My role is generally to run the restaurant.
So you're front of house? I'm
front of house. I can cook. You know, we kept being a family restaurant, and quite quickly now growing. You know, we don't have defined roles. We have people who have most responsibility for certain areas, and my area is front of house.
Right.
But obviously, being family, we've always made sure that each one of us can help the other, so we have a familiarity in all of it.
So it's a proper team effort by the sounds of it.
Oh, total team effort. I mean, you know, it's mum, wife, and myself who represent Prashad in the competition, and in some ways that plays to our strengths because it obviously, you know, it's family, it's passionate, it's part of a team, and in other ways it can prove very challenging because rather than focusing always on the business side, there's the emotional side of protecting my mum, protecting Minal from the wrath of Gordon, which happens on occasion.
He's not really a pussycat then, in real life.
In real life, he's a genuinely good guy. You know, we've had the pleasure of his time away from camera. You know, he spent some time with us, given us some good business advice, and he really, really is, you know, very, very open, very, very down to earth. But I don't know if it's camera or if it's about food. As soon as the subject moves to restauranting or subject moves about running a top-end, high-quality, good experience restaurant. He gets very passionate. You know, you can almost hear the blood rushing around a lot faster, and he's getting really, really.
Well, he can hardly stand still.
I know.
He's like jumping up and down.
He's on some sort of adrenaline. You know, very, very nervous energy. But he brings he at the same time through that. You know, he inspires. You know, I've talked to lots of people in his company. I've talked to people in my company who have taken part in the show in various stages, and the change in them, the focus in them, the drive in them completely changes.
And confidence.
Yeah.
I watch it on the telly sometimes, and I think when they get on well with Gordon, he can inspire a huge amount of confidence and really boost somebody's self-esteem as well.
He does, and then obviously he has the other side of it, which whenever he feels, he can completely let the air out, and you feel completely sort of lost in a corner, not sure what to do next.
Yeah. So what's been the most sort of exciting, nerve-wracking bit of this competition?
Tonight, what happens tonight is the biggest challenge Prashad has ever faced. You know, and one which doesn't look like there's a light at the end of the tunnel. You know, all the way through the challenges. You know, it is very, very, very difficult, and I think it's more on a personal level. Again, being that it's about family, there representing ourselves, it becomes very, very serious. It becomes very, very important, And when it's slipping away from you, you know, it's hard to handle.
Yes, I'm sure.
Ooh, slipping away, that doesn't sound good.
No.
Is it the women that do the cooking?
The women do the cooking at Prashad, yes. The men get fatter.
Speaking of cooking, we've got a rather enticing-looking tray in front of us.
Strong aroma coming. It's quite hard to concentrate, actually.
Yes.
So
what have we got?
Well, I thought I'd bring you some finger food and bring you some of the sort of starters that we do at Prashad. One or two of them are our sort of signature dishes. We have patis, which we do in the show, which is one of our sort of identifying dishes. That's this one over here.
John,
it's like a fluffy potato encasing in which you have a garlic-infused coconut filling.
Oh, that's good. Oh, wow.
Fantastic.
That's one of our sort of signature dishes. We have harabara kebabs today. We have corn rolls with cashew nuts, and we have ground lentil kachoris called dal kachori, which is almost like a chapati encasing with a slow cooked lentil filling.
That is absolutely delicious.
Yeah.
It's really fresh. There's ginger and coriander and all sorts going on.
I think that's one of the things that I've asked my mum on many occasions, why is your food so good? You know, what makes you? And she always often tells me the sort of, well, I put a lot of love into it. And although I acknowledge that, you know, I kind of have to sort of delve a bit deeper and kind of get to the bottom and say, well, I'm sure everybody puts they don't put a lot of hate into anyone's food, so there must be something else. You know, and then she sort of opens up and tells me a little bit more. She's very secretive, and she tells me very
so even you don't know the recipes for these?
I know the recipes, but there's always technique. There's always, you know, if I tell you, you know, this has got ginger, there's a whole host of sauces for ginger.
Yes.
You know, and what do you use? Are you using dry ginger? Are you using fresh root ginger? Where is that fresh root ginger coming from? How fresh is it? So, you know, a recipe in itself, as words, it gives you a general overview of what's happening. But
starting point, really.
What happens in the kitchen and what my mum and Min'll do, you know, that's magic.
I think this is a quote from your mum from your website. She says, good food should encapsulate good thoughts and wishes whilst cooking.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's what you were just saying there, isn't it? It's like the mental thing, what you're thinking about.
Absolutely, yes. Well, that's a very, I mean, that's a philosophy of Gujaratis. That's a philosophy of, I guess, every mum would do it, and that's why, in one sense, why does everyone love mum's food? Because mum's food's got mum's feelings in it, you know, and therefore,
I think there's a lot in that. I really do.
You know, and that's why everyone's mum's food is mum's food, isn't it? You know, and that's what we try and serve at Prashad, and it works. It works because quite often, you know, we especially being in this show, you know, if you just look and try and look at what dishes we're doing, you know, we're not reinventing the wheel. We're not recreating.
Although I've never had one
dishes.
of those before.
Yeah, that is something which
what
is
else
very
have you
special.
brought? What else?
Well, we've got harabara kebabs. This is the patis is one of my mum's creations from many years, and now you're having harabara kebabs, which is a ground pea and cauliflower, and that's more of a softer experience, and that's the starter, which that's one of Min'll's.
But this actually tastes of pea and cauliflower.
Yeah,
it really does. You can taste both of the vegetables in there. That's fantastic.
Good.
Which one's your favourite?
Patis.
The round one.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm going to peer over the console here and see what have we got.
Oh, there's loads of them.
With loads.
Cracking on with.
Should we just play music for 45 minutes when Bobby's gone
and just munch? Just munch.
So you're just a vegetarian restaurant?
We are a vegetarian restaurant.
Just a vegetarian.
Yeah, we would hasten to add just is
the wrong word.
Well, do you know the biggest challenge that we've had as a restaurant? We've been growing for the last 6 years. Every year, irrespective of recession, and what we find is the body language of people is brilliant in my restaurant. We get people who may have a friend who's vegetarian, they've come for a meal, and 3 people of the party are not vegetarians, and they're pretty not impressed for being there, but obviously supporting their friend, and you see them move into a relaxed, talkative, enjoyment environment, and at the end of the meal, if we go back and talk to the same people, you know, they're so much more receptive, because actually, you know, it's cuisine, isn't it? You know, you can't define a cuisine by what's in it. A cuisine is an experience, it's a whole meal in itself, and we have the opportunity of almost people coming in not expecting much because of the connotations with vegetarian, and then getting something which is amazing in terms of taste, and we get that, we always win people over. So our biggest challenge has always been getting people through the door. It says vegetarian across the front, and therefore you kind of find people are not overly keen to come. Gordon, of course, has blown the doors off, you know, and now the phones don't stop ringing. And what we're finding is we are already starting to see lots of new people who have been 3 or 4 times are booking in for parties, because luckily, what we do, although not new, and in certain parts of the UK you can get many outlets doing a similar type of menu, up in Yorkshire we are quite unique. So, you know, people who are sort of foodies, wanting a new experience, we fit that category really well.
So you're going to have to expand the business now with all this.
Well, you see, that's
publicity.
That would be difficult with your mum and your wife and yourself. How would you?
Yeah, I mean, we've already. I mean, in terms of the company itself, before the TV show, we were 3 family members actively full-time employed, and we had another 4 people who worked for us. We now have another 12 people who work for us.
Gosh.
And you know, certain parts are obviously going to be kept close, and that's why we're not in the philosophy of opening many restaurants. We'll only ever be 1 restaurant. We do have some opportunities through Mum and myself doing a little bit more TV. The future for Minal holds Michelin stars. That's her passion, and Gordon has certainly ignited that path for her. So growth, definitely. We're not in a rush. You know, I think for us, it's just making sure right now that we give everybody the same experience they got before we had all this exposure. So it's really just trying to work at the same quality level and train and build a team.
Your mum's got a bit of a history, hasn't she, of entering competitions, and has won quite a few.
She has, yeah.
Is that a sort of particular thing that she's pursued, or
no, not at all.
No.
I mean, you know, it kind of came to us rather than us entering competition. Similarly, like the Gordon, this one was through our customers recommending. Right. You know, we're not that type of you know, we don't have that confidence, even though we're in the national competition and being almost hailed as one of the best Indian vegetarian restaurants or Indian restaurants in the country. We don't really buy that. We don't. We're proud of the accolade, but we don't live like that. You know, we're pretty humble.
Regular-sized egos.
Yeah, definitely. You know, it's not about that. So entering competitions is just not what we would do. In the competitions that have come our way, Mum has, as you say rightly, you know, she's won her fair share.
But I've watched a bit of Gordon, and the front of house bit is just as important, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And for us, that's a personal responsibility.
Yes.
You know, as far as I'm concerned, I see Mum and Minal coming into the kitchens some days at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. Service starts at 11. We then have another service at 6 o'clock in the evening. You know, the chef in the kitchen could be working phenomenally long hours and phenomenally long days every day. We are closed on Mondays. So I take it as a personal responsibility at front of house to make sure that we do our bit. You know, it is a partnership between the chef's creations and passion, and we have to carry that, you know, and make sure that we deliver our bit. We're not just there to put a plate down, take an order, take a bill. You know, our responsibility is to engage with you, talk with you, learn about what you like and don't like, and make sure that you order accordingly. If you aren't enjoying something, we will take that very personally and make sure we get there quick, change it, you know, move things on, because that's our job. You know, in restauranting, it's service industry, it is an experience. The food side I don't have to worry about, because I've got 2 magicians in the kitchen, you know, and they will always deliver something phenomenal. So we have to match that with if you look at the style of the waiters in our service in our restaurant, I'm sure my customers who are listening will also agree. It's passionate, friendly and informal. You know, we don't want to hide behind our piece of paper and pen and look formal or be formal, but at the same time there is a level of professionality that we have to maintain,
and lots and lots of energy when you're talking about it. I can hear it. Gordon's very complimentary. He says that you've raised the bar, and it's the best vegetarian cuisine, and it's extraordinary. I can almost hear him saying that as he jumps up and down.
I mean, you know, when he first came into the restaurant, he looked around and says, "Is this it?" You know, and I kind of, you know, it took me back a little bit, because I thought you'd have known that, but obviously he was just sort of pointing out the smallness of our eating area. When he went into the kitchens are actually a good size for the size of seating that we have, and that's again an indication of where we come from. We didn't open a restaurant, we opened a food business which now happens to be a restaurant. So, you know, our kitchen is the area which has no compromises. The equipment, to the size, the space, everything in the kitchen is much more sort of suited. And then the other areas where we are trying to grow into may have some sort of bits which are sort of maybe not quite perfect. We like that as well. We like the imperfections, and I think as we do plan to grow, we'll be very, very careful that we don't want to give you the perfect experience in terms of ambience and everything, because I think the cuisine that we do and the origins that we're from, the imperfections are actually part and parcel of the experience.
It's interesting.
Yeah. It's not clinical.
Yes.
Yeah,
that sounds like what you're describing as a very human, real experience.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not something that's...
When we first opened the restaurant, you know, our choice of furniture was laughable. And due to budgets, we had to continue with that for about 3 years. We had the metal chairs and tables, you know, arguably outdoor furniture. We went for a certain type of look and feel because it was within our budgets, and it allowed us to express creatively, but actually within a smaller budget. But what we didn't really envisage was on a cold November's night, customers kind of almost cuddled up on these chairs, wondering when the heating is going to get any warmer.
But you know, still coming for the food.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely, yeah, and you know. That's the thing that we want to encapsulate.
Well, I'm converted. I'm going to be coming to eat there one day soon.
Excellent.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah.
And there's a discount for all BCB presenters, is there? Is that what I heard?
I'm sure. I guess so.
I love the way you talk about food. I haven't heard such enthusiasm and passion for food for a very long time. It's fantastic to hear. It really is.
All our listeners will obviously be tuning into BCB at 9 o'clock tonight, but they can have the pictures on the TV, can't they?
Oh, they could with the sound.
With the sound. Yes. Perhaps you could turn it off the last 5 minutes when the results are announced. But is it Channel 4?
It is.
Channel 4 tonight at 9 o'clock.
Channel 4.
And then the final will be next week, will it?
No, the final is directly after.
It's all today.
So you know everything.
I know everything.
You know everything.
Yeah.
We might have to have him back tomorrow.
I reckon.
With some more samples.
I don't want to come back tomorrow.
Should we bring curries tomorrow?
Yeah, that would be fine.
We'll have a full meal.
I think just kind of Tuesdays would be fine, actually. Just Tuesdays at 4 o'clock.
I know where you are.
For the next 3 months.
So we can talk about new dishes that Koshin will create.
I'm sure we could build a kitchen in the corner of the studio here, and you could just feed us for 2 hours on a Tuesday. I wanted to ask you, actually, does Gordon know his Asian cuisine well?
He knows it very well.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, he knows it very well. I mean, just recently he had the sort of the series where he travelled through India.
Oh, that was dreadful.
Yeah,
it was dreadful.
Yeah, his personable skills around it all were quite questionable. But his
what's a lovely tactful way of putting it. I thought it was awful.
Yeah. He often listens to our show, I think. Actually, he's probably tuned in now.
Well, Gordon,
maybe not.
Behave better.
But his knowledge of food across the board is quite strong. Well, very strong.
Okay. Well, we wish you the very best of luck tonight.
Thank you very much.
You'll be biting on nails with the radio tuned in. And thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much.
And we'll be looking forward to hearing about the next episode in the life of your incredibly successful and very beautiful and delicious business.
We'll bring some food.
Okay. We've got a date.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay. And here's a bit of more Chiba.